Are new parents doomed to financial stress for the next 18 years? Well, that's what most people believe, but the reality is completely different. You're going to be shocked when we tell you that 89% of new parents overspend on baby-related expenses by an average of $13,000 in their child's first year alone. And no, we're not talking about necessary medical costs or quality childcare. We're talking about marketing-driven purchases that provide zero benefit to your baby while draining your bank account. Meanwhile, studies show that the financially happiest families with children aren't necessarily the highest earners. They're the ones who avoided 5 specific money traps that catch almost every new parent. Here's what might surprise you. Raising a child doesn't have to destroy your financial goals if you understand the difference between essential expenses and manufactured wants. The baby industry is a $67 billion market designed to exploit new parent anxiety. But once you see through the marketing tactics, you can provide everything your child truly needs while actually strengthening your financial position. In fact, there's a specific framework that helps new parents reduce child-related expenses by 60% while improving their overall financial stability. And by the end of this video, we'll show you exactly how this works and why most parenting financial advice actually makes your situation worse. Make sure to stick around until the end, because we'll give you a complete financial action plan specifically designed for new parents that you can implement immediately to avoid years of unnecessary money stress. So let's dive into the 5 costly mistakes that trip up almost every new parent and how to avoid them entirely. Mistake number 1, falling for the baby gear industrial complex. The first major mistake new parents make is believing they need to buy everything the baby industry tells them they need. The average new parent spends over $12,000 on baby gear in the first year, but research shows that babies actually need fewer than 10 essential items to be healthy, safe, and comfortable. Here's how the baby industry manipulates new parents. They exploit natural parental anxiety by suggesting that loving your child means buying specific products. They create artificial urgency with must-have lists and safety marketing that implies not buying their products puts your child at risk. They also use social pressure through influencer marketing and registry recommendations that normalize excessive spending. But here's what actually matters for your baby's well-being: a safe place to sleep, appropriate clothing, proper nutrition, and basic hygiene items. Everything else is either convenience, which may or may not be worth the cost, or pure marketing. The essentials list that covers 90% of your baby's actual needs includes a crib or bassinet, car seat, stroller, basic clothing in 2 to 3 sizes, diapers, wipes, bottles if not breastfeeding, and basic bath items. Total cost for quality versions of these items: $800 to $1,200. Compare this to the average $12,000 that new parents spend. Here's our strategic approach. Buy only essentials before the baby arrives, then add items based on actual need rather than anticipated need. Many products marketed as must-haves solve problems you may never have. For example, bottle warmers, wipe warmers, and specialized baby food makers are convenient but rarely necessary. Focus spending on items that directly impact safety and health: a quality car seat, safe sleep environment, and appropriate clothing for your climate. Everything else can be evaluated after you understand your specific baby's needs and your family's lifestyle. The psychological benefit is huge. When you avoid the gear trap, you're not just saving money, you're avoiding the stress and guilt that comes from constantly questioning whether you're doing enough for your child. Your baby doesn't know or care about brand names or the latest gadgets. They care about feeling safe, fed, and loved. Mistake number 2, not adjusting your budget for real costs. The second major mistake is failing to understand the true ongoing costs of children and not adjusting budgets accordingly. Most new parents focus on one-time gear purchases, but completely underestimate recurring expenses that continue for years. The USDA estimates that middle-income families spend $233,610 to raise a child to age 17. But this number is misleading because it includes housing costs that many families would have anyway. The real additional costs are more manageable when you understand what they actually are. Here are the major recurring categories that catch new parents off guard. Childcare, often $800 to $2,000 monthly. Healthcare costs not covered by insurance, $100 to $300 monthly. Food costs that increase as children grow, $50 to $150 monthly. Clothing replacements as children outgrow items, $30 to $80 monthly. And increased household expenses like utilities and transportation, $100 to $200 monthly. But here's what most budgeting advice gets wrong. They tell you to simply cut expenses without acknowledging that some costs are truly non-negotiable with children. Instead, we recommend the expense replacement strategy. Before your child arrives, identify discretionary spending categories that will naturally decrease. Dining out, entertainment, travel, and adult hobbies often decline significantly when you have a baby. Instead of just hoping this happens, actively redirect those budget categories toward child-related expenses. For example, if you currently spend $400 monthly on restaurants and entertainment, plan to redirect $300 of that toward childcare costs. This approach ensures you're not adding new expenses on top of existing ones. You're shifting spending from one category to another. We also recommend building child-related costs into your budget gradually. Start adding these expense categories 6 months before your baby arrives, putting that money into savings. This serves two purposes. You build up cash reserves for early expenses, and you adjust to living on the lower take-home amount while you still have energy and time to optimize your spending. The key insight is that children change your spending patterns naturally. Dining out becomes less appealing when you're sleep deprived, and expensive hobbies become less important than spending time with your family. Work with these natural changes instead of fighting against them. Mistake number 3, inadequate emergency fund planning. The third costly mistake is not properly adjusting emergency fund planning for the realities of parenthood. The standard advice of 3 to 6 months of expenses isn't sufficient when you have children, because children create both more frequent emergencies and higher potential costs. Children get sick more often than adults, and at unpredictable times. A simple ear infection might require multiple doctor visits, prescription medications, and potentially time off work for parents. More serious issues can result in emergency room visits or specialist consultations that even good insurance doesn't fully cover. But beyond healthcare, children create other financial emergencies, childcare provider changes that require immediate replacement care, unexpected school or activity fees, and home modifications for safety reasons. These aren't catastrophic expenses, but they happen frequently and can stress budgets that aren't prepared. Here's our enhanced emergency fund strategy for new parents. Maintain 6 to 9 months of expenses instead of the standard 3 to 6 months. Create a separate child emergency fund of $2,000 to $3,000 for smaller but frequent kid-related surprises. And ensure your emergency fund accounts for the higher monthly expenses you'll have as parents, not your pre-baby budget. The Child Emergency Fund is specifically for those $200 to $800 expenses that aren't budget-breaking but happen regularly with kids. Urgent childcare needs, medical expenses not covered by insurance, school supplies or fees, and minor home modifications for safety. We also recommend reviewing your insurance coverage as part of emergency planning. Health insurance, life insurance, and disability insurance become much more important when you have dependents. The cost of inadequate insurance can turn manageable problems into financial disasters. But here's the psychological benefit that most people miss. Having adequate emergency reserves reduces the constant low-level financial anxiety that many new parents experience. When you know you can handle the inevitable unexpected expenses, you can focus on enjoying your child instead of worrying about money constantly. Start building these enhanced reserves before your child arrives. It's much easier to save money and make financial adjustments before you're dealing with sleep deprivation and the demands of caring for a newborn. Mistake number 4, neglecting long-term financial goals. The fourth major mistake new parents make is completely abandoning long-term financial goals, like retirement savings, debt payoff, or homeownership plans. The logic seems reasonable. Children are expensive, so redirect all extra money toward immediate child-related costs. But this approach creates long-term financial stress and actually hurts your family's future security. Here's what happens when parents stop investing. They lose years of compound growth that can never be recovered. A 30-year-old who stops contributing to retirement for 5 years to focus on child expenses will have significantly less wealth at retirement than someone who maintains even reduced contributions throughout those years. The psychological impact is equally damaging. When you abandon long-term goals, you start feeling like you're financially treading water instead of making progress. This creates resentment and stress that affects your entire family's well-being. But here's the key insight. You don't need to choose between your child's needs and your financial future. You need to optimize both simultaneously using a balanced approach. We recommend the maintain and adjust strategy. Continue contributing to retirement accounts, but at potentially reduced amounts. Maintain debt payoff plans, but with adjusted timelines, and keep long-term goals active, but with modified expectations. For example, if you were contributing $500 monthly to retirement before your child, dropping to $300 monthly is much better than stopping completely. If you were paying $800 extra toward your mortgage, reducing to $300 extra maintains momentum while freeing up money for child expenses. Here's our priority framework for new parents. First, ensure you're getting any employer 401k match. This is free money you can't afford to lose. Second, maintain minimum debt payments on all accounts to protect your credit and avoid penalties. Third, continue some level of additional retirement contributions, even if reduced. Fourth, allocate remaining money between child expenses and other financial goals based on your specific situation. The compound effect of maintaining these contributions is enormous. Parents who reduce but don't eliminate long-term savings during their children's early years typically have retirement accounts too, 3 times larger than parents who stop contributing entirely for 5 to 7 years. Mistake number 5, not planning for income changes. The fifth and often most devastating mistake is failing to plan for the income changes that often accompany parenthood. Many new parents focus on expense increases, but completely ignore potential income decreases, creating a financial double whammy that can take years to recover from. Common income changes include one parent reducing work hours or staying home entirely, career changes to more family-friendly but potentially lower-paying jobs, increased sick days and family-related time off affecting earnings, and delayed promotions or career advancement due to family responsibilities. But here's what makes this particularly costly. Most families make these decisions reactively in the emotional aftermath of having a baby, rather than planning strategically beforehand. This leads to poor financial transitions and unnecessary stress. Our strategic approach involves planning for multiple income scenarios before your baby arrives. Calculate your budget based on various income levels. Both parents working full-time, one parent working part-time, and one parent not working at all. Understand which scenario works financially and which changes you'd need to make for each. If one parent plans to reduce work or stay home, start living on the reduced income 6 to 12 months before the baby arrives. Bank the extra money and use this period to optimize your expenses for the lower income level. This provides both financial cushion and confidence that the arrangement is sustainable. For parents planning to maintain dual careers, prepare for the reality of childcare costs and schedule disruptions. Research childcare options and costs early, have backup care arrangements, and understand your employer's policies for family-related absences. We also recommend building income replacement skills during pregnancy. This might mean developing freelance capabilities, exploring remote work options, or building passive income streams that could help if career changes become necessary or desirable. The key insight is that children often create opportunities for positive career changes, starting a family business, moving to a more family-friendly company, or developing new skills, but only if you plan strategically rather than react emotionally. Don't underestimate the psychological impact of financial preparedness. Parents who have planned for various income scenarios report significantly less stress and more confidence in their parenting decisions than those who make financial changes reactively. Your new parent financial action plan. Let's wrap this up with a specific action plan you can implement immediately to avoid all 5 of these costly mistakes and set your family up for financial success. Months 6 to 9. Before baby, create realistic budget scenarios for various income levels. Start living on reduced income if applicable, and bank the difference. Begin building enhanced emergency reserves. Research actual baby needs versus marketing wants. Months 3 to 6. Before baby, purchase only essential baby items based on research, not registries or marketing. Finalize childcare arrangements and understand true costs. Review and optimize insurance coverage. Set up separate child emergency fund. Months 0 to 3. After baby, implement your planned budget adjustments based on actual rather than anticipated needs. Add baby gear based on real need rather than imagined requirements. Maintain reduced but consistent long-term financial contribution. Months 3 to 12. After baby, evaluate what's working and adjust systems based on experience. Continue building emergency reserves and maintaining long-term goals. Plan for upcoming expenses like increased food costs and clothing replacements. Remember, the goal isn't to spend as little as possible on your child. It's to spend money intentionally on things that actually matter, while avoiding the marketing traps that drain resources without providing value. Most families who implement this strategic approach report lower financial stress, better relationships, and more confidence in their parenting decisions. Your child benefits most from parents who are financially stable and emotionally calm, not from expensive products that solve non-existent problems. The early years with children are challenging enough without adding unnecessary financial stress. Plan strategically, spend intentionally, and maintain perspective on what actually matters for your family's well-being. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more practical financial advice. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, being a good parent doesn't require spending more money. It requires making smarter financial decisions. Start implementing these strategies today and give your family the gift of financial stability. See you in the next video.